A wise man once said that the best way to know a man is to observe him and keep records of what he does. Well, it's on this note that I welcome you to the desk, our own gist parlor, a place where we help you make sense with daily conversation and give you informed decisions in this regard. Well, today we will be taking the conversation firstly from the Nigerian economy, where the Nigerian economy is a bit challenging with a slowing growth rate, high inflation, and it is being dressed with a lot of insecurities. Well, in terms of growth, looking at from 2023, the Nigerian economic growth rate slowed to 2.9% from the 3.3% in the year 2022, which is the previous year. In the first quarter of 2024, the Nigerian's GDP grew by 2.98%. The IMF projects that Nigerian economy will continue to grow at that same rate even in the year 2025, that is about 3% or more. In terms of inflation, from 2023, Nigerian's inflation rate rose to 24.5% from the 18.8% in the year 2022. In the year 2024, Nigerian's inflation rate is expected to rise to 31.6%. In terms of security, Nigerians faces a lot of insecurity, including banditry, kidnapping, and insurgencies. But the government has also pledged to improve security across the country. Let's look at the policies of the government. The government has launched reforms to stabilize the budget and boost the economy. These reforms include eliminating high petrol subsidies and allowing the exchange rate of the naira to float. But the challenge is that the Nigerian economic growth is limited by insecurity, lower than expected oil production, and scarcity of foreign exchange. Of course, the government has limited fiscal space for public investment. Now, what this means in the local parlance is that Nigerians is being confronted with a very harsh economy right now. So a lot of people out there are complaining about the harshness of the economy. But doing justice with me, even on this table this evening, is Dr. Halima Usman, who is a senior special aide to the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And we'll be talking this evening on the economy of the country. But first, let me welcome you, Dr. Halima, to the desk.
Right, thank you very much.
All right, you've listened to the analysis. What do you make of the Nigerian diversification policy, which has become like a normal rhetoric right now? Every government in, government out talks about diversification. But right now, Nigerians are complaining. We've not seen the previous diversification policy worked, and right now we're seeing a lot of promises of the government. But generally, to the layman on the street, how will you explain economic diversification to them?
All right, thank you very much for the privilege. What a wonderful question. When we talk about economic diversification, it's an economic concept which is looking at shifting from a particular source of income to a nation to other multiple sources of income. That's the layman for a simple understanding, or investment for a layman can say shiftment from investment of a particular sector or an area to other areas. For example, if you look at our economy, that's the Nigerian economy, is deemed as a mono-economic. That's the perception of who we are. We are mono-economic by nation. While we're looking at that aspect, because we depend on petroleum for ages, yeah. And if you look at it, it account for about 80 to 85% of the Nigeria government revenue is coming from that sector, and also 85 to 90% of this particular sector map the foreign exchange earning of the country. So that's the aspect. So when we talk about diversification, we are looking at, okay, yes, there's a need for Nigerian economy to now look at other sectors to generate its income. So in simplicity, it's looking at shifting from a particular source of income of a country to other sectors.
All right, so thank you, Dr. Halima. Dr. Halima, let's look at the blueprint so far given by previous government even right now, this particular President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, in terms of diversification, do you think at this point that Nigerians should be able to go back home and sleep and expect that the government blueprints for diversification right now will work for the Nigerian people?
Okay, let me address this issue, because there are challenges why there's that fear of economic diversification of a country. For example, in Nigeria, if you look at the Nigerian economy, what is the major challenges towards economic diversification? The major challenges there is that fear. And looking at, we are more of dependent already on foreign innovations. We are already used to it. We are just looking at what is being imported from other countries, the technology, the innovations. So we have not prepared ourselves so that we can see how we can meet up, how we can develop ourselves, how we can shift from where are we to the level that we're supposed to be. Remember, Africans look at the Nigerian economy as the mother, all right? We are the giant of Africa. So we need to integrate so that we will be able to meet up with the current upgrades and also the forecasting that is being estimated of our country, so that we'll be able to meet up its prestigious and also meet up to the ranking that we're supposed to reach.
So invariably, what you're saying is that diversification policy in Nigeria, if I understand you correctly, I stand to be corrected, the Nigerian diversification policy has been on the surface. It has not been driven down home to the average Nigerian. Is this what you mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to notify us on why the diversification is needed, why it's important, and why is it that we, the Nigerians specifically, we look at it that, okay, is it the right thing? Is it the right thing being done? All right. So if you look at the administration, this present administration of Ahmed Bola, he has put in place some strategies that will help us to move from where we are to a higher point, higher rank. All right. So in support of the legislation, there are a lot of, in fact, we have different laws that are being put in place by this 10th Assembly, headed by the Senate President, His Excellency, Senator Godswill Akpabio. I can say, yes, I can see we are driving to where we're supposed to go. Because once the advantage of diversification is fully understood, then we've got to understand that, yes, we need to diversify our economy so that we can restore back that prestiges that we had before we consider petroleum as our major source of income. For example, now our major source of income was agriculture, all right? And we were doing well. And that is what took us to a particular level, yeah? So we have to, at this point, look at, okay, what we need to design some policies. The government has to put the strategies to ensure that we moved to a greater level via diversification of our economy. And I will let you to know what are the advantages of diversifying of an economy.
No, you can go ahead. Okay. Right away. Let's delve into it.
Okay, that's fine. One of the importance of diversifying an economy is that it helps to increase the revenue of a nation. Yeah? When you have a single source of income, for example, the petroleum happens to be our major source of income. But if you look at the trends now, the global trends and also the global warming, all right, so most of the countries that we are looking onto are shifting to a spare of stage, so that they will ensure that rectify. So with our by diversification of our economy, we will be able to increase the revenue, all right, which will affect and also positively our gross domestic product, and also it will reduce that dependency on a single source. And also another point to look at is that it will help to create competitive advantage. Yeah, which we need to do that for a country to upgrade economically. It has to move, okay? It has to have a comparative high advantage to other countries. And also another point is that it will lead to job creation, Because when you diversify your economy, you're indirectly or directly trying to boost and encourage to rise other sectors of the economy to ensure that you have developed other sectors that was abandoned. You now found that you are creating a job avenue and would help to tackle the issue of poverty in society.
Just to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Dr. Halima,
Yeah.
we've had diversification lectures. We've heard people talk about the advantages of diversifying an economy. The question is, are we ready to have that conversation of diversification, or are we just paying a lip service to diversification?
We are ready. In fact, we have already, the journey have already started. Yeah, with the present policies put in place, and the blueprint is clearly to notify, to indicate where we are moving towards. All right, so we are set, because if you look at this administration of Ahmed Tinubu, you understand that it's working towards human capital, investing into human capital, and that is one of the ways you can achieve diversification. Yep. So if you look at it, some of the policies put in place is looking towards that empowering and also investing a lot in the different segment of human capital, so that we'll be able to reach to that stage whereby in every sector we are capable of that. Also, if you look at it, another factor that gears diversification of our economy is that encouraging entrepreneurship. And this administration have put a lot of policies to ensure that entrepreneurship is being encouraged. All right. If you can look at, if you check the 2023 budget, you understand that 2024 budget. Sorry, you understand that a lot of empowerment project was put forward so that they will encourage entrepreneurship and also dwell into. Similarly, if you look at infrastructure. All right, this government, I think this phase of government from the different sittings is looking on to improving infrastructure, so that those particular sectors that has to do with the manufacturing can be able to do well. Yeah, so infrastructure policies are put in place, and you can see that was the forefront of what this administration is looking on to.
Well, Dr. Halima,
yeah, go ahead.
Don't you think at this point that the problem we have right now as a people, as a nation, is the rhetoric of diversification? Before we spoke about diversification, you've mentioned rightly that Nigerian were used to agricultural system. Of course, we have the granite pyramid and other rice pyramid and what have you, boosting agriculture in Benue State, in Taraba, in Jigawa and other part of the north. We saw a lot of productivity. Perhaps it is the word diversification blueprint and diversification as a concept that we have decided to adopt that has become our major problem. Or do you share in this line of thought of mine? Okay,
very good point. Yeah, because agriculture was our mainstream of income. And Nigeria as a nation, we are blessed. I used to say that we are rich if we can harness. We have been bestowed by the nature, which if we can adequately harness these resources that is given to us by nature, we will go a long way. Now, one of the blueprint of diversification, as you rightly mentioned, was the area of agriculture. Agriculture is a sector that if it is really worked on, that is toward expansion of it, and also integrated, that is mechanically, that is we're looking at mechanized farming, or also a lot can be derived from it. And if you can see, I think this is what is happening now. I can see a lot of, now people will begin to now recognizes the importance and also the prestige of agriculture. And with that, you now see that we have a lot of things to go. Of recent, we are looking at these export zones. By identifying those particular areas of what we have, our resources that is being needed outside the country, that the government can now pay attention onto it, and also to ensure that the sector is doing well, the production is everything that is needed to support the being given to it, it will be given to it, so that we can adequately transform this domestic market of such particular areas of products to an international market.
So you don't think that it's the name that is causing the problem for us as a country? Because before we use the word diversification blueprint, we've seen us produce things without even, but I think it has caged us in a way to one particular point where Nigerians now begin to lose their strength, lose their concentration, and want to now say, hey, let's begin to diversify. Because prior to this time, you can say, okay, I'm an agriculturist, and you focus there, and you produce it, while the guy on other industries also produce it. But as soon as the word, let us diversify, let us go leave oil, let's go to something. Now we now begin to know that there is a strength in this area, and this term has become like a problem for us. So at this point in time, just before I let you go, of course, we will say that diversification policy has come to stay in Nigeria. But are we driving it enough to be able to explain this concept to children in public schools and also in private schools, to elementary grassroots, to be able to understand this concept and be able to run with it, so that even teenagers can begin to start producing? Are we doing enough in terms of sensitization of our diversification policies, even of this particular government?
Okay, yeah, I'll answer your question in respect to that. I want you to understand agriculture is just one out of numerous, all right, when it comes to diversification. We look at area of technology, yeah? If you look at area of technology, it's also one of the blueprints, yeah, an item of diversification, because we need to ensure that we have integrated our technological know-how and also innovations. We are bestowed, you understand? So we have we have that capacity. We have that because if you bring an average Nigerian, give them the opportunity, I'm telling you, you are going to see the technical know-how in us. So we have that. All we need is to integrate so that we'll be able to achieve that. Go to the creative industry. This is another industry. If you look at India is also one of the growing digitally economy. You now see that with one of the aspects that they utilize, and they were able to boost up their economy, and they are doing well. Go to the manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector is another segment that our economy can diversify, and we'll be able to do a lot. Just imagine that now we have to import matches. As when you look at some of these things, you know that it's a slap on the face, because we have the resources, we have the potential to do these things, and these things are needed outside. So if we can now encourage and also integrate our other sectors, we'll be able to compete with other worlds that are moving towards a very high rank in terms of integrity. And also when you look at we have, okay, for example, now this assembly, all right, this legislation, I'm talking about the Senate and also reps, they are working tireless to ensure that both the green and the blue economy policies are being geared toward that. A lot of bills have been passing. I remember just a few months ago, I happened to be one of the briefing, so which we spoke about the green economy. And we look at the potential in green economy, that if we can adequately harness it, we'll be able to do a lot. We'll be able to compare with our foreign competitors when it comes to country level. Okay, going back to this particular question you're putting about the policy, what is being put in place and all
the
those.
sensitization of the policy to promise.
Yes, very important. Yeah. I want you to know, I said one of the advantage of diversification is that it's going to tackle our entrepreneurship, all right? So it will be able to encourage entrepreneurship, and it will boost our economy. Recently, it is mandated mandated at the curriculum under the education sector to ensure that every pupils from primary school, secondary school, tertiary institution must go through entrepreneurship. What was lacking in our curriculum? Now, if you are studying at the primary school, yes, go back. You can ask the children to go through what they are doing. Entrepreneurship is now a core course for them to take. If you are now studying at a degree, BSc, or you are doing your master's or postgraduate or your PhD, one of the requirements is that you go through entrepreneurship as a course. And this is a strategy to ensure that, yes, we revive it. We are moving, and we have left so many things that need to be taken into consideration. Now we have gone back. Our attention is drawn back, as you have rightly said, IMF and the projection, the forecasting. I did one research, and the research is that I take some models. I take a model which is anticipated that this will give an economic growth. But I was like saying, okay, let me see, will it work for my economy? So when I took that particular models, use its factors, so I took an African country, our country, and I also took Canada. So, and I used the same models with the factors. And at the end of my analysis, I discovered that this particular models and concept works for the developed country, like Canada. But when I put it on the Nigerian economy, it didn't work, because we have different futures. So we have to work with what we had at ground in order to ensure that we meet up to what we are targeting. So our blueprints need to look towards our futures, target our futures, so that we will be able to meet the requirement and we'll be able to harness adequately. So diversification is a key if we really want to have a positive change in our growth and development. So we have to diversify our economy. I said something. If you look at the country like UK, US, Canada, they have jointly comes together. So, and they are now looking at moving from I was given a topic to talk about the electrification of export processing zones. So, and I was able to advise that yes, we can now aside from the non-renewable that we use for the electrification of this export industry, so that they will be able to compete, we have the renewable. They can use what we are bestowed. We have the sunlight. I was even a typical example that, do you know that the woman in the village that is there, she's struggling under the cottage industry, so that she'll be able to produce as a community or as her household. She needs electricity for sure, but she doesn't rely on government 100% to say, okay, I'm waiting for the government to supply electricity. Can you see, do you know that she can use her pit toilet to generate electricity?
Well,
so we need to diversify.
Dr. Halima, we'll come back to all of this conversation, because there are a lot of things that we need to ask you even on this table. But I've been saying that right now that our time is fast spent, because we have to go into some other conversation. But at this point, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Thank you very much.
And hope when next we need you, you'll be available for us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, we'll go for this short break. And when we come back, we'll be talking to Usman Issa, who is the Global Tourist Ambassador. I will be talking about tourism as it affects Nigeria, especially medical tourism. Please go nowhere. The desk continues in a moment.